Hello, everybody. Welcome to Unscripted Access, episode number 100. Episode number 100. Oh my God, I can't believe it's been that long. You're here with your host, Nick McCandless. On this week's show, we also have Anthony Ta,
Hello.
Bronze Fiore,
Hey, and Game Boy is also 25 years old this week. It can rent cars now.
John Macaluso. Well, technically, you can rent cars at 21, but you pay a lot more.
And you are restricted to certain vehicles. Like, you can't rent, say, a Chevy Tahoe until you're 25.
Right. But let's reintroduce John Macaluso.
Hey, everyone.
And Bremen Milan.
Hello.
All right, guys. So, Bremen, you've been around for a little while now, and John, you're fairly new. But Bronzy and Anthony, they've been since the very beginning of Unscripted. I mean, the very, very beginning when we were trying to come up with this name, and we had this concept, but we could never come up with a name for it. And then we came up with Unscripted Access, and that's stuck ever since. I mean, 100. That's crazy. Like, so far on the site, we haven't reached. Well, the Gamecast has reached past episode 100. But besides the Gamecast, I don't believe we've had anything else on the site reach episode 100, if I remember correctly.
Well, Okami could have been there.
Yeah, Okami was getting there, which thank God you guys finally finished that. My God.
We capped it.
You would have thought, I mean, if you go to, depending on when you went to our website, you would have thought we were an Okami fan page, because you go to the website and you see, whoa, 4 videos about Okami.
Do we want to talk about there was a time when we looked like a Mass Effect 3 fan page?
Oh, that was
There was a time
crazy.
when we looked like a Final Fantasy fan page, because we had like Final Fantasy 13 Lightning Returns and the FF14 review on the same week, so, you know.
Well, no, Mass Effect was bad, because Mass Effect we had, what was it, a review, a video review, and then we had like a couple other things. It was, I remember we had like 4 or 5, and there was like articles about and it was just like various Mass Effect content. And it's like, you would have thought BioWare and EA were paying us, which they weren't, but that's pretty funny. But yeah, it's crazy. I mean, the website, I mean, there's people that have been following since the very, very beginning, which thank you guys so much. I mean, that's almost 6 years. Wow, I can't believe the site's almost been around. November, it'll be 6 years this website's been running. God, time just flies. But we've had various different podcasts throughout the years, and Unscripted Access by far has definitely been the most successful, and we thank you all the listeners for helping us get to this point. The site, since we started Unscripted Access, has blown up. When we started Unscripted Access, the idea of a sponsorship to go to an event was something that was like, yeah, right, that's never going to happen. And now we've had various sponsorships since then. It's been a crazy ride. We've built tons of relationships. I know, especially not just for myself, but Bronson and Anthony actually going to these events, experiencing them. We recently got back from, well, it's not well, it depends what you call recently. What's been, so like 2 months since E3 now. It doesn't feel like 2 months, but it's been 2 months since Bronson and Anthony were right where I'm sitting right now in my apartment. So it's pretty crazy how time flies, but the website's just progressed so much, and by the time we get to episode 200, I expect the site to be way beyond where we're at now, and we're making moves to make that happen.
A perfect comment I actually got was when we were at E3, I posted a picture from the Microsoft press conference. And when I first started podcasting, it was in 2008. Same time the Gamer Access opened, but Aaron, Anthony, and I were doing our own website. And at that time, it was my friend Aaron, it was Aaron and my friend Quinn and I working on a terrible website. And Quinn said it best. It blows my fucking mind that we went from hosting a podcast in your basement, doing taste tests for energy drinks while using a Rock Band mic, and now you guys are at E3. Like that, that's kind of the progress that happens. Though I will say this: that energy drink test, that shit's never coming back. Never, 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 never.
Well, you never know. One day on Unscripted Access, because Nick's had so many of them, we'll do it anyways.
Yeah,
we go to E3, and I'm not having any coffee. I'm not having any energy drinks. I'm just surviving on natural, human-generated sleep. And
not much.
Not much, though.
Yeah, E3 was rough. Hopefully by E3 we have things worked out to where we're getting to bed before 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. But nevertheless, it was very successful, and we will definitely. I mean, we're probably going to be at a couple other events before E3 next year. We're making plans for CES, so stay tuned to that. We'll keep you guys updated on whether that happens. Possibly PAX East. We weren't at PAX Prime this year. Definitely want to be at PAX Prime next year. So maybe GDC. There's a lot of events that we are wanting to attend. It just depends how things go. Because obviously, it's not like we have this huge budget to allocate towards events. It's more of we have to secure a sponsorship to cover everyone's expenses. So we'll keep everyone updated on those. But just keep supporting us, guys. Tell your friends. Tell your friends to tell their friends. Expand and comment. Leave us questions. We love interacting with you guys, promoting us. That's what's going to help us get to the next level, and obviously the hard work on our part, which we're all putting in. So thank you guys for your support. So yeah, it's episode 100. So yes, we're going to have some news topics, but we're also going to discuss, because this is episode 100, talk about a little bit about the history of the website. I know Bremen and John have been with the site too long, but there might be a couple things they can chime in on. But yeah, so let's go ahead and talk about, so being in the gaming industry, you learn a lot of things about the gaming industry your typical gamer does not know. I mean, your typical gamer is like, oh man, my dream job would be to work for IGN. You get to go to E3 and get paid for it, and you get games for free, and you get games early for review. And I mean, we're not at the level of IGN. We're not at the level of IGN, but if anything, we're kind of more involved than people who work at IGN because we have to find ways around having low budgets. So, I mean, we're doing the same things they're doing. We're just having to find different ways to do it. So what are some things that you guys learned? Obviously, I mean, these gamers are like, oh, man, I wish I could get this game early for review. And it's like, yeah, but you don't know what it's like to get a game 2-3 days before release and have the pressure on you to be like, shit, the embargo is up in 2 to 3 days. I would need to get this review out in time. That means, well, guess what? I'm not sleeping, and I'm just playing this game, and I might feel like putting the controller down, but I can't because I have to get through this game so I can put the review up. And then you beat the game, and you're tired, and you're like, I'm going to bed, and you're like, oh, no, I need to write the review. So
I had to review Journey when I had the flu, and it was just the worst shit ever because, I the amazing game that I gave it a 9.5, and it was an amazing game, but having the flu while having to finish it to write a review all in one day was not fun.
Yeah, thankfully Journey is a short game.
Yeah, thankfully.
Yeah, I mean, I can't remember the last game I had to super rush on. The last game I reviewed was Infamous. Yeah, it was Infamous, but I got that a week before release, so that wasn't a problem. I beat the game in a couple days, give me time to write the review, and I had the review well in time for the embargo. But yeah, it's definitely working in the game industry is fun. Do not get me wrong, but you also see a lot of downsides with the industry. It's just like any type of business. There's politics involved, everything, especially PR companies, as far as who gets what, who gets information first. That's just all pure politics. So it's I've known people, and they've originally been members of the staff, where they'll join the site because they're passionate about gaming, but then once they figure out what being a part of the gaming industry means as far as the media, they're like, okay, I got to bounce out, because you got to realize that a lot of people, they have standard jobs, and when they get off work, they go home and play video games. Well, when you're in the media, at that point, you're kind of mixing video games and work together, and for some people, that just doesn't work. A lot of people think that, oh, that sounds awesome, get to work around the industry I like, but no, because you work around the industry, and at that point, for some people, it can make the industry no longer fun for them because they know all the ins and outs. It's just for example, if you were let's say that you're looking super forward to, let's say, Metal Gear Solid 5, for example. Yeah, we're all super stoked for it, cannot wait. But if you were a QA tester and you were playing this game 8 hours a day as a job, and you had to play the same thing over and over and over again and notate every little issue with the game. By the time the game comes out, you're going to be so sick of that game, you never want to see it ever again.
Also, for every like amazing game you play, you probably play like 3 really shitty games. Like I remember, like I know that I kind of wanted to expose John to that very early. So I was just like, hey John, here are really obscure Vita games that we've been sent that are probably bad. Yeah, here, write a review. Due by this date. Have fun. You know, like, I reviewed Aliens Colonial Marines. Okay, like, that was painful. You know, and, like, yeah, that, you know, sometimes you'll get a surprise, though. Like, I was quite frankly surprised at how good Anarchy Reigns was. You know, that game was a shock, but a lot of the time you get a lot of shit. You know, granted, thankfully we are not, like, you know, it's a double-edged sword where it sucks that we don't get a review copy of everything, but it also means we don't have to review a lot of really terrible video games. So we still get our fair share, though. You know, and then on the other end, it's like, yeah, you love playing new releases, or like, let's say you love playing a certain game, you always have to be current. Like, everyone on the staff has to be somewhat current on what we've been playing. Like, you can't, it's really hard to go back to older stuff because it's like, okay, well, you know, Tales of Zillia 2's out, people want to hear us talk about it, we gotta play like a couple hours of that at least. I can't go back and play Ocarina of Time or Twilight Princess or, you know, Metal Gear 3 or whatever it is I want to play. Like, that can be, you know, or like, I know people who play nothing but League of Legends. Like, that's all they really play. And we can't really do that unless we're covering esports. Because, well, like, people want to hear, you know, about current news and such.
Right.
Well, we could sit down and freaking talk about how every single little tiny itty bitty tweak that they made in the next patch affects the overall composition of teams and how it affects the overall flow of how the jungle works. But then now you're getting so technical to the point where, I mean, I know League is like one of the most popular PC games in the entire world right now, but even then, you kind of have to like pull out a giant dictionary, and you have to study yourself like a professor to be talking about this stuff.
Like, we had to create a separate podcast for that stuff, right? Like, I mean, the raid is for MMOs and MOBAs. That's like, because those games are so big and you play them so much, and I mean, to be fair, we don't do enough esports coverage. I'm gonna be like, it's becoming this huge field, but we don't do very much coverage of it. And part of it's just because we don't watch a whole lot of it, or we're not involved with the community because we have to keep up with all the other stuff. And like, this shit can very much turn to work. Like, Okami is an amazing game. If someone asked me, should you play Okami? Fuck yes, you should. Do you want to play Okami every week for a year? You know, like, that's... Because here's the thing, when you sit down... And also, you don't realize this. Like, series like 60-Minute Access or Okami, you notice we're doing commentary or making jokes the entire time. That's kind of hard to do. Like, it's harder than you would think it would be, because usually, I don't know about you guys, but when I play a game, especially on my Okami, I'm typically dead silent. I have my headphones on, I'm just completely absorbed in the game, and I'll play it in 2, 3, 4 hour chunks. So, like, having to do commentary on it and, you know, play the game in, like, 1 hour chunks and do commentary of it it turns it into... It does turn it into work. Like, we're still having fun, but it is work. So.
Well, yeah, and it's just like we said with the events. Like, yeah, like, I remember when G4 was still a thing, and watching Adam Sessler and Olivia Munn covering E3, and I was like, man, it'd just be amazing to actually go to that event one day. And when you think that, like, yeah, all you're thinking about is, oh man, I get to play all these games early, I get to check this stuff out, I get to be there. But now that you're involved with being there, you're kind of like, yeah, this is fun, I'm glad I'm here, but damn, it's a lot of work. Because
I think E3,
and not just while you're there. I mean, I do most of the pre-work for the show, but securing the sponsorship, setting up the meetings, having scheduling conflicts, having to set up the travel for your staff, having to figure out how you're going to allocate the funds from your sponsorship. Like, there's a lot of work there. And then there's the work that's once you get there. And when you get there, it's not only just me get on camera doing interviews or whoever get on camera doing interviews. It's you gotta film it, then you gotta edit it, then you gotta upload it, then you gotta post it, and various variables there you've got to deal with. So yeah, it's fun. I think it's something we all enjoy. Obviously, we're doing it, so we enjoy it.
Remember
But
when you played,
right,
and then like not only that, but then in the case of Kyrie and I, we have some work when we get back to do because Bronson Rants and What the Hell, have to do E3 shows, and then usually like it's definitely like it's super fun to go to those events. Like even I'm not particularly fond of CES or the city of Las Vegas, but even CES is fun to go to, and it's definitely a lot of work. It's fun work, but still fucking exhausting.
yeah, it's not, and I don't want people to think that we're complaining. We're not complaining at all. We're just trying to give insight into what this industry is all about because we were all there at one point. We were all these guys that were on the couch watching E3 coverage from G4 and thinking, oh, it'd be awesome to go there, not really knowing what's going on behind the scenes. We were all there, and a lot of our listeners and viewers are there. And we're just trying to provide insight into what really goes on. Like I said, there's been people that have been on the staff that after a couple of months, they're like, no, I can't do this. I love the gaming industry, but as far as actually contributing work to it, this was not what I was expecting. That's a lot of people's reactions. So it's something I love to do, but it's something
really
that's a little
hard
bit different.
To explain what we do to people who are not gaming enthusiasts. Like, that is, like,
Yeah, they're like, you talk about games? Really? Like what do you mean you talk about games?
Well, like I've just, people who don't understand or don't, like my grandfather, I just say, I do stuff for a website. That's how I've, kind of just condensed it down to not have to try and explain all this stuff to a person who probably just won't get it at all. So, but that's how I've lowered it down.
Right. But let's go ahead and talk about some of our, let's say, our most memorable moments since we've come involved. I mean, it's funny because it's like I used to be this kid, and I started super young. I mean, when I started the website, you're talking about 14 years old. Like, 14 years, like, people, they're like, how are you so young in the industry? And I'm like, dude, I forced myself to learn how to build a website when I was 14 years old. Like, 14-year-olds don't have patience, and to let alone figure out how to build a website. But somehow, I forced myself to learn, and like I said, just this website where all I did was just copy and paste news. That's all I literally did. It was a blog spot, and I was copying from other sources. I was sourcing them, of course, and I was posting news. And somehow, miraculously, I gained fans, and I'm like, okay. Didn't necessarily get it because, okay, I'm posting news from all these other websites. Why is someone going to come to my website when I'm posting stuff that all these websites have had hours before me? I still can't answer that question. They found me somehow because that's all it was. And then I started doing a podcast with a guy who I was working with, and that's when our fan base really started to grow. Is when we started bringing in unique content and involving our personalities, and then went from a blog spot and didn't just open up the GamerAccess.com. That was not the very first website that I opened. I had opened a website called SonyPS3News.com, which, as you can imagine, was just news on the PlayStation 3, because at the time I was this huge PlayStation 3 enthusiast, and did that for about 6 months. For the most part, it was copy and paste news, a couple podcasts here and there, but for the most part, it was copy and paste news, and then that transitioned to the GamerAccess.com, and it's just been taken there ever since, and the website's grown extensively. I mean, pretty much all the gaming companies know who we are and what we do, and it's grown into this big brand. This year, actually, it's been less than 2 months, this website is now an LLC, which is a big move. So we're an official company now, and obviously there's no immediate benefits there, but it's just kind of setting up for the future. So let's go and talk about like some of our, let's say, most memorable moments per se. I know for me it is. I've had quite a few. For me, obviously, first time at E3. I'll never forget my first time at E3 for various reasons. I mean, here I am.
So, your first E3, did that involve a limo?
Yeah, so let's go and talk about that.
Yeah, I think we should do that this E3.
Yeah, so
I think something more discreet, please.
Escalades. There we go.
Yeah, we can like rent a Cadillac Escalade, okay? Like the Nintendo people showed up in Cadillac Escalades, so you know.
Yeah, so
just not a Cadillac Escalade limo, okay?
Yeah, so let's go through this. So,
and I would have no problem wearing suits if I can, drive an Escalade for a day and be really dumb about it.
Yeah, no.
We all need to suit up for E3 2015. Like that's straight up, just all suits.
Yeah, so let's talk about this. So, before we get into that, I remember the very first time I was invited to go to E3. The E3 has changed a lot. E3 back in the day, I mean, it wasn't that everyone could get in. Well, it used to be at one point, but I'm talking about when I really got involved. It was just a lot easier. Like, our website wasn't getting that much traffic, and we were still able to get, like, 5 badges. Now it's like they're super strict and really, like, hard to the wall with things. But first time I was invited, at E3, you have to be 17 to get into the event because they have M-rated games and such. And first time I was invited, my birthday is on June 19th. So the year I was invited, E3 was June 15th through June 17th. So I was invited and could not go simply because my birthday was 2 days off. I did everything you could think of to try to find a way to go. I contacted, emailed every single person I could think of. I had friends of other websites try to write in for me. I went as far as get the corporate office who managed the E3, and I wrote a handwritten letter to them. And I was like, look, I'll have my dad come with me. I'll have him sign any papers he needs to sign. And just nothing worked. So super bummed out. As you can imagine, I'm a kid at this point, and E3 was this dream of mine, and I was invited to go, and now you're telling me I can't go. It was like so like heartbreaking. So that was definitely something I will never forget. But then the following year, I actually got to go to E3. And not that I just get to go to E3, like, I did it big. Anyone who's followed me and the website for a while knows what all went down. So, when I went, I arranged this deal. It was funny, at the E3 after that, I did the same exact thing with another company. I arranged a deal with this limousine service, and pretty much I provided a promotional video for them and was tweeting about them and such. And they gave me an entire week of limousine service completely free. So the whole entire week, imagine I'm this kid, I'm going to LA for my very first time. I have this freaking stretched Escalade limousine. Not only that, but I also, because at the time I didn't have this elaborate staff, so I went there with Jessica Negri, who's now this huge famous cosplayer. When I first met her and started talking with her, she wasn't that big. She was big, but not near as big as she is now. She's huge, like all over the internet. And then 2 of her friends, Amy, who she's been pretty big in cosplay, and then Angelica, who I haven't talked to in a while. So here I am. They're all 3 attractive. Got this freaking big ass Escalade limousine. First time in fucking LA. Freaking going to E3. It's freaking time of my life. Like, nothing could be better for me right now. I'm just like completely living life right now. So, yeah, that was pretty amazing. I gotta admit. That was probably a week I will never ever forget ever in my life. Just because first time in LA, first time even leaving the East Coast, I should say. First time in LA, Escalade limousine the entire week, being treated like a celebrity, and then working with 3 very attractive women. I was just on cloud 9. I'll never forget that. That's definitely probably my most memorable moment since I started the site. Couple other memorable moments. One time I was in the airport, and this was me flying to E3 the next year. and I'm walking, and this girl comes up to me, and she was like, "Are you Nick?" And I'm like, I was kind of freaked out for a little bit because I was like, "What the fuck? Like, how does this girl know me?" I was kind of freaked out, right? Comes up to me, she's like, "Are you Nick?" I'm like, "Yeah, do I know you?" She's like, "No, but I'm a huge fan of your site." And I'm like, "Oh, you're a fan of the site?" And she's like, "Yeah, big fan of the Gamer Access." And we started talking or whatever, and she was like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "I'm getting a flight to E3," and she was talking about how jealous she was and blah, 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 blah. And she was like, "Well, I didn't want to bother you, blah, blah." I'm like, "Oh, no, my flight doesn't even board for like another 45 minutes." And I was like, "Are you hungry?" She's like, "Yeah, we just went to McDonald's and had breakfast together." It was like super cool, right? Because it's like, it's different when you're like walking E3 and someone like, we're walking a gaming event and someone recognizes you because like that's your audience. Like, yeah, but when you're like in a totally like LAX airport, this huge place, like an international airport, and someone recognizes you, it's like it's freaking awesome. So that was the very first time I'd ever been recognized in public at a non-gaming or comic book convention or anything like that. So that was super cool. That was probably my second most memorable. Um, Maybe probably my third memorable would be CES. Going to CES for my very first time. It was the very first time I'd ever been to Vegas. Like that's the thing. This website has taken me all over the country, and hope one day to be all over the world. It's taken me all over the country. Like I would never been to Vegas because I was under 21. What was I gonna do in Vegas? And I would have never been to Vegas if it weren't for CES. I would have never been to LA. I mean, I wouldn't even be living out here if it wasn't for the website, to be honest. The website's opened up so many job opportunities for me. I'd still be living back home in North Carolina, going to school. So, yeah, CES was definitely a huge thing. I'm in Vegas. I'm under 21, but still having a blast at CES. And the first time I went with Brittany, who used to be a member of the site, which that was fun. And we enjoyed some of the nightlife, even though we both weren't 21, and just walking around the strip, and it's just crazy because I remember it's like I'm walking the strip, and I'm like this is crazy. Like I started a website, and now I'm freaking traveling all over the place. It's like this weird feeling. I'm like, wow, like this is something that like you hear people dream of, but it's like to actually be doing it, it's like something completely different. So. Yeah, I'd say those are probably my three most memorable moments. How about Anthony and Bronson? And then how about, I know, John, you just started, so you might not have anything, but Bremen, since you've been doing this a little while. But let's start with Bronson and Anthony.
I like it. Starting on the guy's career was, interesting because, like, Aaron and I were like, I especially because I like blogged on Red versus Blue like in my early teens, about like 13, 14. And 15, and then I stopped at beginning of high school, and then like in 2008, Aaron and I were playing a lot of Halo when we were both really big Giant Bomb fans. They're like, we should. There's YouTube. We should make videos and write and podcast, and we just started, and then it went really bad, so we called in Anthony to help us fix everything. And Anthony played Team Mom as he still does. And like we join up with the Gamer Access and start several shows. As for memories that stand out, definitely this first E3. Like that was something. That was definitely really awesome. Actually, a lot of good memories from this year in general. Our panel from this year went really well. Like our Game Expo panel. The fact that this past E3 was a lot of fun, a lot of good coverage. Another memory that stands out is just starting video shows. I remember Anthony and I, we wanted to do a Let's Play series. That was our very first series we started. And, for the first, for 3/4 of that show, we had to use Anthony's old capture card, which couldn't capture in HD. Didn't matter because we were doing a Super Nintendo game, but still. And had, a half a second to second lag. So, we played all of Chrono Trigger with, a good 1 second lag, which isn't a problem till you have to climb up a mountain that requires precise timing. It got to the point where it was so weird that when we got an actual capture card, I didn't know how to respond. It was so responsive that the game didn't feel right. I was just like, this game doesn't work this way.
Yeah, and the video quality was a lot better too. Yeah, we were recording in SD, but the capture card was so
Old
lousy
and shitty.
Yeah. I mean, it's only from 2007, but it was effectively supposed to be a TV tuner, not a game capture device. So, when you're watching TV, latency doesn't exactly matter as much. So,
Yeah, definitely. It definitely was a piece of work. I remember. So I just enjoy Anthony's transition of like recording, when it comes to podcasts, because like we went from like passing a Rock Band mic back and forth to we used to record podcasts with the PlayStation 3 because the iToy had an omnidirectional microphone, so we wouldn't have to pass a microphone around anymore. And it had this software called iCreate. So we would use iCreate, capture it, then we'd export it, put it on a flash drive, put it on mine or Anthony's computers, convert it to a format that was actually like usable, and then edit it and post it. Like that's, man, the dark ages. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, that was about the best we could do, though, to be honest, because we needed something. So yeah, that was our pretty ghetto setup.
Well, yeah, this reminds me of like with Nick's Gaming View. Oh my gosh, the Nick's Gaming View, which, oh man, my original videos just make me cringe. They're so freaking bad. That's a good thing though. Like if you look back a couple years and you don't see it, if the videos don't look bad to you, that's a bad thing because that means you haven't really made any improvements. Because you can always improve regardless of what you're doing. But I started on freaking white wall, just me sitting in a chair, the white wall behind me, and I was like, oh, this green screen thing's super cool. So I bought this green screen and was highlighting it with construction lights. Now, anyone who knows construction lights knows those things get freaking hot. So you didn't see us on camera because obviously there's editing that goes on, but about every 2 minutes I was stepping off camera to wipe the sweat off my forehead because it was so damn hot. But in order to do green screen right, you need really good lighting. So I was using 3 sets of construction lights. Which just get your room seriously just it's bad. Like so bad. Like the shows were so uncomfortable doing it, and it's just like afterwards it's like I had to change my clothes because I was just drenched in sweat. It was like I probably burned 5 pounds every show with just sweating out sweat. It was disgusting, but oh man. And then when I had my virtual set with like me sitting in a chair and like this, like you can barely see me. I'm like this little ant on the virtual set. It was like funny and cool at the time, but it's like at the time I thought it was the freaking greatest thing in the world. I'm like, damn, like I'm freaking getting super high tech. And I look back at it now and it's like, no, Nick, no, never again. So
yeah, well, I mean, there's all kinds of stuff like that. I mean, like you look at like you look at Anthony and I podcasting. You know, I listen to old podcasts. I'm like, you're bad at hosting and you need to stop. But now I listen to a podcast. I'm like, yeah, you're not bad. Like I'm certainly no Ryan Davis, but do all right for myself. Yeah, like I think that when you're in this industry, your skills are always going to be evolving. Like that, they have to be, and that's part of the fun too. You know.
Right. How are you, Anthony? Well, Anthony, what are some of your memorable moments?
My memorable moments. Well, before TGA, I remember the the night when Bronson and I, we were all just sitting on Xbox Live, on Party Chat, and Bronson's like, "Hey, Anthony, I got this website. I want you to be a part of the site. Need you to do stuff for it." And I'm like, "Well, I'll think about it." "Well, no, you're not thinking about it. You're on the site." I didn't choose to go into the site. Bronson forced me onto it.
Yeah.
And I remember, and I remember this. And he's like, "Okay, Anthony, here's the website. Take a look at it." And I looked at it and I was just like completely baffled how this thing could have even existed because it had so many grammar errors. Like, I still think it had, personality, but as something that to say, yeah, this grammar is, yeah, it's, yeah, so, yeah, and, I was Team Mom for a while. Team Mom. I did a bunch of lousy videos. First
monotone.
Oh man, look, I may make awesome videos now, but if you go back and look at some of the really old stuff, like I first did, man, some of the stuff I did back then was so awful. Like, I would narrate over the video in real time. That was a bad idea.
Oh yeah, I used to do that too. If you guys, I did a review. I remember for Resistance 3. I think it was
two.
Oh yeah, Resistance 2.
Because I reviewed 3. I remember 3.
Yeah, Resistance 2, and I think it was Little Big Planet. I think it was the original Little Big Planet.
It was probably, because those came out like a week apart.
Yeah. So I reviewed those games, and literally this was my setup. Like, just to give you guys a head up, like, this is how we do reviews and how most professional companies do the reviews. We write out the script, we record the audio, and then we capture video to match, and then we sync it in video editing. Well, back then, I wasn't that high tech, so literally it was me setting up, and I didn't have a capture device, so it was literally me with a camcorder. I had the camcorder set up on a tripod, filming my screen as I was behind the camera and tripod, playing with my controller and talking. It was so bad. It was so bad. Like, oh. And you could, like, see, like, the lights reflecting off my TV screen. It was terrible. But, yeah, we've come a long way since then.
We may make pretty good videos now, but, and this is why I always say, if you want to get somewhere, if you want to get somewhere in game journalism, just start. Doesn't matter how bad it is. If anything, you can go ahead and find the GameCraft YouTube channel and watch all that complete garbage that I made, 8 years ago, 6 years ago now?
Yeah.
5 years ago. Okay, you can watch all that garbage that I made 5 years ago, and then you watch my video review now, and you're just like, did you discover the magic trick that suddenly made you a good editing person? No, it's more like I just looked at my work, find out what I really don't like about my own work, and then fix on it. Because back then, when you start out, no one's going to really watch your stuff. I mean, those YouTube stars, they're, like, really rare. Like, everyone kind of wants to be like that instant road to fame kind of stuff. But for a lot of people, you actually have to work for it. You don't, you're not like, those YouTube stars are just rare. So, and the problem is that when not many people watch your stuff, you kind of have to it's very depressing, demotivating. That's why a lot of people give up. And you have to, like, self-critique your own work too. So you kind of have to build really good evaluation skills to improve your own work. So, and this stuff doesn't, like, happen overnight either. Like, yeah, I wish I could make more video reviews. I probably should be making more video reviews, but to reach the point I am right at this point, I've been doing it for 5 years, and even then I've been editing videos once in a while for almost 8 years now. So, we all start somewhere.
I mean, I think, that's, John's relatively new, and he asked me that question, like, how do I get into game journalism? What's it all about? I'm like, just start making shit. If you want, you can audition with us. But, like, we want a good history of work. And he started making stuff consistently, and it's pretty good. And I'm like, okay, we'll give you a tryout. And that's basically how it happens. Like, you basically just keep improving on stuff. When you make stuff at first, you probably think it's gonna be like, you think it's awesome because you made something, and it probably is pretty cool at first. Then you look back on it, like even a couple months later, you're like, that was really shitty. What the fuck? But I don't know. Yeah. So, Anthony.
Yeah, I spaced out.
Great.
Yep.
But how about we'll go on to Bremen and
Oh,
John.
right.
Like,
I didn't say my other memorable moment. I was just talking more about, like, another memorable moment I had was when I first joined TGA, Dragon Age 2 was about to come out, and one of the big reasons why I think Nick was interested in having us at TGA was because of the ultra rare unicorn videos that occasionally came out from this one guy named Anthony Ta. So, and Dragon Age 2 was just about to come out at the time, so I made a demo impressions video. Didn't know how that was felt. Then I made the Dragon Age 2 video review. That was alright, and I think that was my only video review of all of 2011. Yeah. And then 2012 came. And then Mass Effect 3 came out. And then I did that. I think that was like the first time I did that whole music video, cinematic, video review ending kind of stuff. And to this day, I still think it's amazing that I managed to do that. But that was the first time when people in the comments, there weren't many, I think it was like maybe J-Sway, Creaty, I don't remember. They literally commented and said, "Your video reviews are awesome. Please make more." And I am very sorry that I didn't make more. But when you have somebody, even if it's just an internet comment, just say that what you just made is amazing, and and you believe that, you know, what they said, they really mean it, it just kind of like all of a sudden it's like all of a sudden it's like, wow, thank you. There's like this set, like you feel like you really accomplished something when even if it's just one person on the internet just say that your work is amazing. And I'm pretty sure Nick's had this, I'm pretty sure Bronson's had this, but to me that's like, for me to make that video review, and I still think it's kind of mediocre. Almost all of it's mediocre except the ending, but even then people are like, it's amazing. So it's like, yeah, I won't forget that like the first time you get praise like that, it really sticks out.
Definitely. Yeah, I've heard a lot of praise, but I've also heard a ton of negativity.
People on the internet are dicks. That's what I have to say to that. Is people on the internet are the worst. Like I remember.
Well, it's all because it's because they can say whatever they want to, and they don't care because they're hiding behind the screen.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's the anonymity of the internet. It's still like every year I talk about Call of Duty on the Gamecast or do a text review. I get a ton of shit for it, and I'm like, I'm the only one defending these at this point. Like, no one else on the staff will even play these all the way through. I am your only hope. Like I have reviewed every single one except World at War since Call of Duty 4. Or like that comment on Aaron's one art. I'm never gonna forget that comment. Like, fix that first, America. Jesus.
Oh wow.
Yeah. We've had some very interesting comments over the years, that's for sure. But let's go into John and Bremen. John, I know you haven't been on the site very long, but since you've started, what's been kind of memorable for you?
I mean, I can actually think of three things. The first is probably getting that first review. I know, like, it was of that Vita game. Which I can't remember at the moment.
It was some spin-off of Hyperdimensions Neptunia.
Yeah,
the irony, the most memorable as he forgets.
I'm sorry, it was because it was a really terrible game. Like, Bronson texted me, I was at dinner with my family, and he's like, "Hey, I got your first review," and I'm all excited. I'm like, yeah. The positive experience out of this is not the fact that I played the game. It's the fact that I got my first review. The game.
I remember my very first review copy was Afro Samurai. That game back in the day.
What was mine?
Afro Samurai was the very first game, and just the idea of getting a game for free in the mail, or just getting a game for free, period, just like, wow, that's awesome.
I think mine, it was either The Walking Dead or Awesome Knots. I think I got those two like back to back, and The Walking Dead was fucking amazing. Awesome Knots was okay. So yeah.
Continue, John.
Yeah, I think the feeling, of excitement, the fact that I get to play a game and then write about it and give everyone my opinions, my thoughts. I was really excited about that, and I think that's definitely a memorable moment for me. I don't think I'll forget that excitement, for a while. Okay, so that would be number one. Number two would be the Reno Game Expo, for a few reasons actually, and that's I've never really been exposed to gamer culture. I mean, of course, I've always been a huge gamer. I know a lot about the industry. I mean, not the inner workings, but I know the people of the industry, the gaming companies, stuff like that. But I've never seen. That was the first time I've ever seen a cosplayer. Um, that was the first tournament I ever, with Bronson and the Shaq Fu tournament. I've never participated in a gaming tournament other than those two. And then, I've definitely never done a panel. But, all of those were, they were all a blast. And then, third, I would say memorable moments. This one's kind of a cop out, but I'm going to say it anyway. It's, meeting all of you guys, meeting the people at the Reno Game Expo, playing games with them, playing games with you guys. It's just, I love it. It's fun. That's pretty much it.
Cool. How about you, Bremen? What would you say your most memorable moment since you've been on the site?
It would be E3 actually. The E3. I was not expecting to go to E3 actually when I first joined. Actually, I met Bronson and Anthony through my brother Alex, and that was the Gamer Expo, Dale Games. Was it Dale Games?
It was Game Expo.
Game Expo, yeah.
It was the first one. It was 2014.
Yeah, and I just met those guys there through my brother, and then it went through this conversation to where they needed an artist, and I was like, well, shit, I draw, and then they, decided to give me a tryout, and first time they asked me to draw anime versions of them, of the staff, I did it right away. Actually, it was pretty fast. So kind of I think that's kind of how I got their attention was that as soon as they asked for it, I got it done right away. So,
right.
But then from that, then I just kind of did whatever they wanted, comics and stuff, or whatever they would write, I would just draw. But yeah, my most memorable moment was at E3 because that was really a big thing for me. I remember, all the years I've been here, I wanted to go to E3 and check it out. I had friends that actually went there before, and this one was going to be my first. And when I first joined, I wasn't even expecting to go, which was a good thing actually, because it was better for me to expect just hey, I'm just going to work with these guys and see what happens. And then once I got invited to actually go with them, I'm like, holy shit, sweet, that's awesome. So being there was actually the best time of my life, man. It was great.
Oh, E3 was a blast for sure.
Yeah, man, that was my most memorable moment. There was meeting everybody and joining around, going around the floor and actually being there.
E3 was just, it feels surreal. Like the first couple days when we're in LA, because it's like, first off, it's like we're actually in a car going to California. But for a lot of us, it was like, oh, we've all been to California many times. I mean, Reno's only like, 30 miles away from the state border.
Yeah.
And we've been through Sacramento many times, and we've been to LA, and I've been to LA quite a few times before, but more like Orange County. And so, it's just like the trip itself isn't so bad, but then all of a sudden it's like, Kyrie's here, and Nick is here, and Bronson Bremen and I are there. And next thing you know, we're sitting together at dinner. And then the next day, we're sitting, watching the Microsoft press conference in the morning. And then Next thing you know, we were outside the convention center, and they were sitting literally like 20 or 30 feet away from the stage that, you know, Sony's big, important people were standing on. So it was just like all that happened so fast. Like in one day, we saw Microsoft's press conference. We went to the outside of the convention center to get our badges, and we were watching Sony's press conference all in a day. And then the next morning, we were on the show floor itself, and it was just feels kind of unreal because you always read about E3 and you always watch it through the lens of a camera, but to actually see it with your own eyes is.
Yeah, because actually the very first game convention that I went to was like. It was in Reno. It was like, I think it was called Ace or something, or Acme. It was like arcade games and stuff. And yeah, I remember dominating a Virtua Fighter 2 in that one. That's why it was. And this chick that was working there, she was like cosplaying as Pi, one of the characters in Virtua Fighter. She did not give up, man. She kept coming for more. I felt so bad just whooping her ass every time. Well, anyway, yeah, go ahead, guys.
So do we want to branch off into news, or?
Yeah, anyone else have any topics they want to talk about regarding the site's history or anything before we go ahead and go into the news?
The future is very, very bright.
Yes.
And I'm very glad that Anthony and I can finally work on other shows.
Thank God. I'm so tired of seeing Okami on the fucking website.
Well,
yeah,
one more week to go, but yes.
Yeah. Oh, man. Okami. Good game, but yeah, it's enough of that.
In my opinion, it's one of the best games that I've ever seen and played. It's just, it's a matter of, you know, just like, holy shit, lesson learned.
Yeah, no more super long games.
Like, we found that our limit is Chrono Trigger. Like, that was our limit, which is 22 hours. You know, like that's fine. Like that's when I felt Okami should have ended for the Let's Plays. Like 22 hours is the limit. We want to get less, but we know that like if we really want to do a 22-hour game, we can, and not suffer.
But all right, cool. So let's go ahead and head into the news. So Gamescom is next week, and it's shaping up to be a pretty exciting year. We'll have to wait and see what happens, but Sony. We've talked about kind of what they're showing, but obviously none of this stuff's really too official. Like, things have been hinted at. Big thing for Sony is obviously they're going to be showing more of Uncharted 4. With Uncharted 4, I don't think they're going to show any gameplay. It'll probably be, if anything, just another like teaser trailer. They're going to show Until Dawn, which that would be exciting because we haven't really seen anything for that game in a while. New indie games, but there is a lot of, evidence pointing towards Guerrilla Games announcing their new IP, which makes sense because we all know Guerrilla Games is working on this new IP for the PlayStation 4. We have no clue what it's about. We've heard it's going to be this very ambitious like MMO game, and they didn't announce it at E3, and Guerrilla Games is actually based out where Gamescom's taking place. So what better place to announce their game? And Gamescom, the thing about Gamescom is, yes, it takes place in Europe, but all of the news, most of the, like, it's not like the Tokyo Game Show, where, like, a lot of the announcements at the Tokyo Game Show only apply to the Asian countries, whereas with Gamescom and E3 are pretty much, like, for E3, like, people in Europe are excited because they're going to get pretty much the exact same thing as far as the announcements. They might get it a couple days later, but they're going to be getting all the benefits. And same things with Gamescom. America's going to pretty much get everything that's announced at Gamescom. So Gamescom is like the E3 of Europe, and Gamescom's been getting bigger and bigger every single year. And to this point where Sony's looking to have a really big show, I'm personally excited for it. Like, I remember when Gamescom came around, I was like, yeah, I wasn't that excited about it, but now every single year I'm super excited for Gamescom. Microsoft as well. Microsoft, I mean, in the past, they haven't really had a big presence there, but Microsoft's gone as far to release a teaser trailer for Gamescom this year. They're really, really hyping it up, talking about, I mean, one thing is going to be a world premiere of Call of Duty Advanced Warfare's multiplayer mode, which take it or leave it if you care about the next Call of Duty or not. I'm somewhat interested. I'm not a big fan of Call of Duty.
That Halo collection, though, man.
I'm kind of done with Call of Duty, man.
But yeah, I'm really sick and tired of Call of Duty, but this Advanced Warfare I might give it a chance because it actually looks pretty cool.
Can you ride vehicles?
Right. It's like kind of like an integration of Titanfall with like all this stuff. It's funny, but it's funny how all that stuff works. But yeah, it's definitely exciting to see what both Sony and Microsoft have. I mean, the competition's super strong. The PlayStation 4, yes, PlayStation 4 is outselling the Xbox One, but still very early in the console life cycle. Anything can happen. I mean, if Sony slips up, Microsoft's going to pass right through them. So, I mean, so Xbox arguably has the best holiday season this year compared to Sony. Well, I want to talk about Sony. Between Sony and Microsoft, they have more exclusives coming out this year versus Sony. Next year, that kind of changes as far as we currently know, because Sony has Bloodborne, The Order 1886. There's various games coming out exclusively for the PlayStation. But this year, I mean, PlayStation, all they really have exclusively is Little Big Planet and Drive Club. But then Microsoft, they have Sunset Overdrive. They have the Halo collection. Like, Microsoft has a lot of stuff going on there. But yeah, Gamescom, it's next week. Are you guys pretty excited?
I mean, I'm curious to see what's going to be announced as always, but you know, I'm pretty much just waiting for the holiday season to get kickstarted. You know, like that. I want to play Destiny. I want to play Madden and Persona and Bayonetta and just.
This is the first time. Like, yeah, I was kind of excited for Madden because it was the new consoles, but even then I was kind of disappointed. But after playing Madden at E3, I'm super excited for Madden this year because it looks so fucking good. It looks so good.
It looks really good.
Destiny, yeah, I've nerded out enough about Destiny.
Bayonetta 2. But one quick thing about Madden. So we have a really long 60-minute access plan for that. The two clueless ones, Bremen and Tori, are going to be doing a match. And then
I demand something like this for NBA 2K15.
That's got to be hilarious.
Oh,
what did you call it, Bronson? What did you call it? The loser bowl or something like that?
The failure bowl, I think.
The failure bowl, that's what it is.
Then...
it'll be like the Broncos were in this past Super Bowl.
Ouch.
I'm just saying. It was pretty bad. I got all excited for the Super Bowl and freaking first hike of the game.
It was supposed to be super exciting and ended up being really boring.
Yeah, best offense versus the best defense. What else could you ask for? And then first hike of the game,
that
safety.
That must have been like an advertiser's nightmare because everyone already shut off the game.
Oh yeah, I would have hated to spend $1.52 million for, especially if it had a commercial towards the end when like no one gives a fuck anymore. It's like shit. I just spent $2 million and I'm definitely not getting a return on my investment there. The only people that probably got the return on investment were the very first commercials before the madness happened.
So let's see. What my response to that is, at least my favorite team makes the playoffs.
Okay. The past 2 years we haven't made it, but my response to that would be at least my team wins Super Bowls. So
okay. Hey, you know what?
I'm just saying.
You lost against the Packers.
Okay, but yeah, except for that Super Bowl, the past few Super Bowls we have won. So
you won 2 out of your last 4. Way to be. We won 2 out of our. Well, yeah, we've also won 2 out of our last 4.
Well, that's a real point.
Well, okay. Well, at least all I gotta say is we have more rings than any other team in NFL history. So just putting it out there.
Yep. Way to be. You know, way to beat that dead horse.
The only team that can fill up a whole hand and still have rings left.
Okay, the horse is dead, Nick. You can let it go.
Man, this trash talk is pretty darn awesome.
But
John's very good at it. Can I just say?
Steel Curtain, best defense of all time. Just saying.
Orange Crush is right up there, right next to it. In fact, statistically, the Orange Crush is better than the Steel Curtain.
No bullshit.
You look at top 20 defenses of all time. Statistically, the Orange Crush was better than the Steel Curtain.
You can't just go off statistics.
Oh, the Orange Crush.
The funniest thing happened today. I saw Andy Dalton got a freaking contract for the Bengals. $25 million for 2 years. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? You're gonna pay the most inconsistent quarterback in the NFL $25 million for 2 years? Are you freaking stupid?
The whole contract is like what? I think it's like $115 million for like 8 years.
I think, well, yeah, like it's nuts.
Here's the thing that's funny. Like, we don't need to ramble about football much longer, but here's the funny thing about that, because now, like, for example, Ben Roethlisberger's contract's coming up, and you have other quarterbacks, and it's like they're gonna look at Andy Dalton and be like, "Look, they're paying that motherfucker this much. You're gonna pay me a hell of a lot more because I'm a hell of a lot better quarterback." I mean, Andy Dalton is like an average quarterback. He's nothing special at all, and he's getting paid like he's some franchise quarterback, which he's not.
Well, quarterbacks are worth a lot
rare.
of money.
Like, that's the thing, though. Like, I'd say Andy Dalton is slightly above average. Slightly above average is still better than, like,
your backups.
I look at Andy Dalton and I look at other starters. Okay, I'd rather have it.
Think about it. What's like the best backup out there right now? If last season it was like
Kyle
probably no, the best backup.
It's
probably like Josh McCown, and even then, like Josh McCown had a lot of good things going for him to have been able to keep that offense going as well as it did when Jay Cutler got hurt. But do you have many backups like Josh McCown? And even then, is that backup going to work well in your system?
Let's look at the starters for other teams. Okay, he's better than EJ Manuel. He's right on par with Ryan Tannehill. Obviously worse than Tom Brady. Better than Geno Smith or Michael Vick. Worse than Joe Flacco. Better than whoever the fuck's playing for the Browns. Worse than Ben Roethlisberger. Better than TJ Yates. Worse than Andrew Luck. Better than Chad Henne. Better than Jake Locker. Obviously worse than Peyton Manning. I would say he's on par with Alex Smith. Better than Matt Schwab. Worse than Phillip Rivers. Worse than Tony Romo. Worse than Eli Manning.
Here's the thing. He's worse than Eli Manning even after Eli Manning's terrible season last year.
Well, yeah.
What happened? He threw 27 picks? Like, that's ridiculous. How do you throw 27 picks in one season?
I think
who did?
Eli Manning.
We're not considering the fact that AJ Green that he's got AJ Green.
Well,
that makes him a way better quarterback just because he's got Green.
Well, it's just like with the Browns. Browns got Manziel, and Josh Gordon can't stay out of trouble. It's like a lot of people have high hopes for Manziel, but for me, it's like I've seen the type of game he plays in college, and that just does not work in the NFL. There's been various other quarterbacks who try the same thing. It just does not work. So his only hope is Gordon, and if he's out for the season, I mean, the Browns are just going to have another shitty-ass season because Josh Gordon's one of the best wide receivers in the NFL.
We really need to get out of this subject. And Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford looks way better because
he's got the best. He's got one of the best wide receivers of all time.
He has the best receiver in the league.
Oh yeah, one of the best of all time.
Yeah,
but definitely the best in the league. No one compares.
Right,
Calvin Johnson.
Enough football talk.
I will just say I'll end this football off with one more thing. The Ray Rice suspension is complete, utter bullshit. But we will continue. What were we talking about?
News.
Gamescom.
Yeah.
Anyone else excited?
I don't know.
I'm excited.
Looks interesting.
Where is Gamescom being held anyway?
It's in where in Europe is it?
Amsterdam?
It's in Cologne, North Westphalia, Germany.
Damn.
It's in Germany.
Almost in Amsterdam.
Yeah, so it's way out there. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it because it's the new. I mean, these Sony and Microsoft they have to be at their top game. Because
it'd be awesome if we could actually go there that one day.
Yeah,
nice.
that would be
TGS first, man. TGS first.
Yes.
Yeah, TGS would be that'd be a blast to go to. But I think economically, Gamescom's probably more affordable. But we'll see. Hopefully, in the future, we will be attending those events. We'll see what happens. But cool. So moving on, Anthony, anything you're excited about with Gamescom?
Not really. I don't pay much
I heard
attention to
the team behind Drive Club says they're going to be showing a lot of stuff at at Gamescom.
Oh,
so.
really? Because I haven't read on any of those updates, and I don't think I have any intention of doing it.
You really should, Anthony. You should read about all the new.
Well, maybe you guys should send it to me.
You guys should read about all the details that they're putting into the massively detailed cars that can only be powered on the PlayStation 4 that you could get this holiday season if you wanted to, and it would make Destiny look a lot better, and then it'd prepare you for Metal Gear and the many other amazing games coming out next year.
Unscripted Access brought to you.
Matter of fact.
Unscripted Access brought to you by the Sony PlayStation 4.
Oh, that's another memorable moment too.
Vita.
That was another memorable moment too. Back from the GameCraft days was it was episode 4 of the very original GameCast. Anyway, we're still passing the Rock Band mic around, and we were going on a bit of a rant about fanboys because the game community, it kind of sucks at times. It really sucks.
It does suck at times, yes.
And we were talking about how we didn't like fanboys, and our buddy Joe was like, yeah, so we're talking about, gee, fanboys suck. So anyways, about the PS3, and you could hear 3 dudes in the background just dying of laughter. Fuck the Xbox. The Wii's for children. Screw fanboys, but the PS3 is epic win. Because in 2009, well, the PS3 was starting to look pretty darn good. So, yeah.
Cool. All right, let's go ahead and move on to our next topic. Gears of War. So we all know the new Gears of War it's worked on. It's being headed by Black Tusk with Rod Ferguson, and there's been kind of some conversations going on because obviously the last Gears of War was the weakest of the franchise. I mean, it wasn't terrible, but it was kind of weak. Cliffy B is no longer involved with Gears of War, and he's kind of the one who started it, so it's like there's reason for concern there.
That's probably why it wasn't very good. Was he involved with the last one?
Partially, but he left Epic before the game released, like several months before that game released. So
yeah, that's probably why.
Yeah, I'm sure he was kind of at that point. He was kind of like, okay, I'm done, and the game definitely reflected that. But Rod Ferguson has come out and said that with Black Tusk, we have to show that we have a legitimate claim to this IP and be able to show we now know. Yeah, we now how. Well, that's very bad grammar. How to do it right before we do it differently. So pretty much what he's saying is, what happens when a lot of companies take these games is they design it how they want to, and that the problem there is that you've kind of just cut out their entire fan base because they're a fan base of how that game was originally. Like, yes, you can improve things and introduce new things, but you don't want to change the game up. So what Rod Ferguson is saying is that they first need to prove that they can make this game enjoyable and stick to the Gears of War roots before they even try doing anything differently. So there's a good way to take this and a bad way to take it. Good way is, hey, we might actually get a semi-decent Gears of War. Disadvantage is going to be nothing innovative whatsoever. Like, yes, it's probably going to look amazing because it'll be running on Xbox One, but is it just going to be, oh, Gears of War, slightly different story, go? I hope not. But do we have any... I know I'm a huge Gears of War fan. Any Gears of War fans here that are interested in the Xbox One version?
Well, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I mean, I love Gears of War, but I'm definitely not looking forward to this. I can't say I'm not looking forward to it. I'd say that I'm not heavily anticipating it at all.
Yeah.
Pretty much exactly what you said sums it up.
So I really enjoyed the original Gears trilogy. I thought it was a great set of games. I especially loved the third one. And then Judgment came out last year, and it was so bad that, in our top 3 Xbox 360 games, we put the Pizza Hut app ahead of it.
No, okay, see, that's taking a little bit too far.
That's us trolling, but still.
Yeah.
Hey, man, you know what? That game was really fucking boring, but that pizza was delicious. So, I
just think it's funny how, although they're not related whatsoever, the names are very similar, so there's always a comparison of God of War and Gears of War. They're both these very gruesome games, and they have of war at the end of them, and funny because it's they both had a 3 releases, and then they tried to do the exact same thing, and they both just came out bad. Funny how that works. But I don't know. I'd like to see another shot at God of War on the PlayStation 4. It just needs to be done correctly because Ascension wasn't that great.
Wasn't that kind of what happened with Batman too, with the Arkham series too?
Yeah, but that was because that was made by a different developer, and I didn't even think Origins was all that bad. Like,
no, I was saying at least that one was not like horrible. You know
I mean, like Arkham Origins was fucking like that. You know, it's not the world's best video game. It's definitely the worst of the 3 Batman games, but it had a really good Joker story. And as a big Batman fan, I loved all the references to the Killing Joke and all these other big Joker comics.
Compared to Gears of War, that one's it ended up being a lot better actually than, you know.
Yeah. So, and yeah, I don't know, Gears. I don't know. Like, it's hard for me to say how I feel about it because part of me is like, I just don't care. Like that storyline was enough. Like, it's not like Halo, where like Halo 4, I was intrigued because I gave a shit enough about the fiction of Halo to care about spin-offs and beyond the trilogy. Like, I just do not care about the fiction of Gears of War enough to be like, I want more of that. What does this universe have for me? Like, it seemed like the games told the story and told the world the way they needed to. Yeah, I don't know. I will always appreciate Gears 2 playing it with Anthony and Andy, where they distracted everyone, where I just chainsawed everyone. All I did was just chainsaw people. I mean, dear God, like and I was good too, like, because Andy was good enough at distracting them. All you just do is run up behind people and just all day long.
Yeah, Gears of War. I've spent so much time on Gears of War and online. It's so fun, so fun. Gears of War 3 was a blast online.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's move on to some pretty big news. Destiny is coming to the PC. Up to this point, there's been Activision and Bungie were just not saying anything. They never said there would never be a PC version. They just weren't announcing it whatsoever, and they're just keeping it quiet. And turns out Destiny will be coming to the PC. Not a huge surprise because there's still quite a few people who haven't moved to the new generation but want to experience the visually impressive version rather than the downscaled version on PlayStation 3, Xbox 360. So Destiny will be coming to the PC. But the catch is, unlike the console versions that are coming out September 9th, if you want the PC version, you are going to have to wait until March of 2015. So that's quite a bit of a wait. I don't know. I don't know. It's just one of those things where it's gonna be available on Steam. I'm gonna put that out there. I mean, obviously, and it will support 1080p 60 frames per second, and they're even saying they'll possibly in future updates it will support 2K and 4K resolutions, which freaking Destiny in 4K. I can't even imagine how freaking amazing that would look. I don't know. I guess here's my thing. If you're a PC game, most likely, let me put it this way, if you game on the PC, pretty much, unless you're playing on like a basic computer and playing like World of Warcraft and League, you're pretty much a hardcore gamer because there's a lot involved with PC gaming versus consoles. So you'll find that most people who have a gaming rig as their PC as their gaming rig are hardcore because they're putting in graphics cards, and you don't do all that stuff if you're not hardcore gaming. So with Destiny, if you're a hardcore gamer, I just don't see people waiting until March. It's just like Grand Theft Auto 5. Like, people are requesting this PC version of Grand Theft Auto 5, and it's like the game's been out for so long now. It's like, would it really even sell well? Because anyone that really wants to play Grand Theft Auto would have already bought it.
Okay, so I know the person who's gonna buy the PC version of Destiny. He is Bremen's brother, our friend Theo. This is what happens. He'll buy the console version and begrudgingly play it. And then he'll put it on his fucking machine with two 770s and an i7 when it comes out and play that version and mod it and enjoy it way more. Like it's like same thing with Grand Theft Auto. Like yeah, he played Grand Theft Auto, but you know.
Speaking of Grand Theft Auto, I'm playing that game all over again.
Yeah, I'm gonna wait to play it again when the new version comes out. But yeah, for sure.
No, I mean I've been playing it recently.
Oh.
Playing online.
Hopefully, which I'm sure they will, because they've already announced how it'll go from like PlayStation 3 to PlayStation 4. Hopefully, they'll have a way of being able to take your character from the consoles and put it onto your PC. Hopefully, but we'll see. Anyone? I mean, I'm buying it on my PlayStation 4. Doesn't really impact me. Anyone impacted by this at all on the staff?
Nah. I mean, buy it for the PS4, man.
Yeah. I mean, it's cool to offer it. I just don't think, especially, I mean, it'd be different if it was coming out on PC the same day or like a couple weeks later, but you're talking about September, so you're talking about September, October, November, December, January, February, March. You're talking about more than 6 months later.
I mean, if there's people that really want to play it, I'm pretty sure it's probably going to either force them to buy a PS4 or just, you know.
Anyone that really wants to play Destiny, even if they don't have a PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, they're probably going to play it on their PS3 or Xbox 360.
No, I don't think that, because I know plenty of people who PC only for whatever reason. Like that's where they play it. Like my friend Matthew Allen, like I work with him over on Moondog. He runs the Greenlight Gaming, and the dude only pretty much exclusively plays on PC, so that's the version he's going to get. You know, so and there are those people who exclusively play on PC. Like it's just, even if they're excited for Destiny, that to them shelling out the $400 or $500 for a console for a couple of games isn't worth it to them, especially if they're the type who mainly plays multiplats.
Yeah, I know someone who recently bought an Xbox One for Destiny, which makes no sense. I tried telling her, I'm like, well, first of all, if you're getting this mainly for Destiny, why aren't you going to get the PlayStation 4 when it's going to run and look better on the PlayStation 4? But she's hardcore Xbox.
Are you talking about Brittany?
No.
Because I've had this discussion, and some people prefer Xbox because that's where their friends are, or they prefer I mean, I can't blame someone for that. I mean, that's where all your friends are playing, and that game is totally a multiplayer game. I'd see why you would get the PS4.
Yeah,
it's better.
I am not gonna say at this point neither of them are really better. They both have very small libraries.
Games look better on PS4.
Yeah, but that doesn't necessarily make it a better console. The PS2 was far weaker. What?
It made it look better on PS4 and PC, by the way.
Well, yeah, PC Master Race.
Well, no, I mean, if it got my brother to actually admit it.
That's the thing is though is both these consoles are really good right now. They're both. But they also both really lack libraries. I mean, it's okay, do you want to play Titanfall or Killzone? Do you want to play, Killer Instinct or Injustice? It's very, the libraries on both are very slim, and even after this holiday season, it's okay, well, there's Halo.
It's 2015, that's going to be freaking nuts.
Yeah, 2015 is where, now you have to buy one. What are you doing?
Yeah, 2015, and it's just like this with all console cycles. 2015 on, it's just going to be ridiculous.
Now, this year is the year of the Wii U. You got that Donkey Kong, that Mario Kart, Smash, Bayonetta, Hyrule Warriors. This year is year of the Wii U.
I don't know, not so much about the Hyrule Warriors, though, man.
Oh, well, we actually have a news story about that. They just announced another new character for that. Ganondorf is playable and a character in the game. So we now have 3 male characters to 20 female characters. So that's say that how you will.
Well, no, I mean, it's like with Dynasty Warriors. I'm like, Dynasty Warriors again.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like every 4 or 5 years I'm in the mood for one of those games. Because it's been long enough to where I'm like, oh yeah, I kind of want to play this because it's like, yeah, if you were just play Dynasty Warriors like every time it comes out, I can see how that gets old. So like, play Dynasty Warriors when it came out on PS2. Didn't touch another game like it till 99 Nights, and I haven't touched a game like that since 99 Nights. So and adding a Zelda twist to it, I'm down for that.
I don't know. It's well for me though. I know it's probably not enough for me to go actually want to buy it.
Yeah. But yeah, it started in 2015. 2015 is just nuts. There's so many freaking games, and the crazy thing is we don't even know all the games. Like if 2015 just consisted of the games we knew of, it'd be an amazing year. But we don't know all the games coming out next year. That's what's scary is. And yes, we're gonna have delays.
Half-Life 3 confirmed next year. Boom. Let's do it. We can stop that internet meme where it's like something plus something equals 3. Half-Life 3 confirmed. It has become such a joke at this point that it needs to fucking stop. They need to make that game. I loved Half-Life 2 and its expansions. They're all awesome games. But they ended on a cliffhanger in 2007. It's 7 years later. Still, I really want them to do this. Half-Life 2 Episode 3. Oh my god, if they did that, I would fucking lose it. I would just be like, oh my god, Valve, you are the best company of all time. This is hilarious. Just troll everyone.
Oh, man. Yeah. I mean, Valve, they've got freaking all the money in the freaking world with Steam.
They have all these great franchises, right? And none of them have gone past 3. Like, they got Dota 2, which, okay, that's brand new, so, don't know that one, but we're on Left 4 Dead 2, Portal 2, Team Fortress 2, Half-Life 2, they can't count to 3. They don't know what the number 3 is. Like, there was this picture. It had Gabe Newell getting into a taxi. It's like to shit. Man can't go to E3.
Yeah. Yeah, Filthy Rich. I don't think is he the only video game billionaire? I don't know. But yeah, Gabe Newell's worth over $1 billion. It's crazy because the company's private, so he just rakes it all in. Must be nice. But yeah. I don't know. Half-Life 3, we'll be lucky if that game's announced during this console generation. Oh man, because it's crazy. Because it's like people could say, well, it's been in development for 7 years, but it's like it can't be because they would have spent so much time developing it for the PS3 and 360, and now the Xbox One and PlayStation 4 are out. So it's like,
oh, we all know that Valve fucking first off, the Source engine can run on fucking anything.
Source. Do you think they would use the Source engine though? Because
they still are. The
Source engine it's not I don't know. It's just we saw what happened with Titanfall. Like, yeah, the game looks all right, but
art always ahead of tech. Like, that's
well, that's opinion. 'Cause I feel the opposite, but
we look at, once again, we just finished Let's Playing Okami HD. That game, they up-resed it up to 1080p. Looks like a brand new game. Looks amazing. Entire time. Game's beautiful. Like that. So we have that art effect there. So Half-Life 2 has a really good art style. Or you can still play Half-Life 2 Episode 2 and it doesn't look bad. Especially if you're doing the PC version, which they've updated the engine a bit. So I don't know. Like, what was the last game to come out on Source? Like Dota 2. Like Dota 2 runs on Source and it looks great. I don't know, man. But it's. I'm trying to think about so let's say they can work on 2 projects at a time, maybe 3. So they did.
I would love to see, Half-Life. I think it'd be cool to see another Left 4 Dead too.
Like, supposedly that's what they're working on. Left 4 Dead.
Left 4 Dead 3 would be cool.
They have Portal, which I think they're pretty much done with. Portal 2 was well, Portal 2 was that year's game of the year. In my opinion, it's one of the best games of the generation. They have Left 4 Dead, which okay, they can do a third one easy. Dota 2 is brand new, so they're not doing anything with that. Team Fortress 2, I don't think they really can do much to branch off from that. And then Half-Life and Counter-Strike. Which, okay.
What if they brought Counter-Strike back? That would be nuts.
They did recently. I think Counter-Strike Go is only 2 years old. That was a pretty solid game. I don't know, I did all signs point to Half-Life or Left 4 Dead being what they're working on next. I think that Half-Life needs to fucking happen soon, though.
Yeah, everyone's been waiting for Half-Life. I have a feeling, too, it's this announcement that people are just dying to hear. And it's probably going to be something that it's just be some random day you wake up, no special day, Half-Life 3 announced.
Oh, yeah. That, it'll just be, you wake up all over IGN.
Yeah, you don't believe it. You think it's a joke. I know the first time I hear Half-Life 3's announced, I'm gonna be like, bullshit. Where's the cameras? You got me. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But yeah, cool. I didn't really have any more news or any other news you guys had.
Yeah. PlayStation Plus. Download your shit tomorrow. That's it.
Yeah.
What are the 2 games?
There's actually a lot, but all right, I'll pull. I have the list.
There's the 2 PlayStation 4 games. Yeah, there's other ones. Yeah, let's go through the games that are gonna be free.
Okay, so hold on. I actually just had this list earlier today pulled up. I know that one of them is Fez, which is coming out on
PS3, PlayStation 4, and Vita.
Yeah, so we got Fez, which it placed in our top 5 the year it came out. Aaron really liked that game. I wasn't super big on it, but I don't know. It's a solid game. Then they have, let's see, Crysis 3, the PS3 version. Which, why are you playing Crysis on a console? Why are you playing Crysis at all? I never got into that series. Alright, so Fez is PS4, by the way. It's PS4, PS3, and Vita.
Yeah.
Then you have the other PS4 game is Road Not Taken. It's from the creators of Triple Town. Road Not Taken is a roguelike puzzle game about surviving life surprises. You play as a ranger adventuring through a vast, unforgiving forest after a brutal winter storm, rescuing children. Randomly generated levels deliver a limitless supply of possibilities and challenges to overcome. Then we have Proteus, which Proteus is a game about exploration and immersion in a dreamlike world, where the soundtrack to your play is created by your surroundings. Metrico, this is another Vita one, is a new world living filled with infographics that react directly to your movement and actions. Metrico invites you to explore and experiment, test your skills, and think outside the box. And last but not least, for PS Vita and PS3, Dragon's Crown. Which, that is a 2D RPG beat-em-up style game that is very, very pretty and fun co-op. So, and that's
I wonder, these indie games are cool, but I wonder when we're going to see the first retail PlayStation 4 game.
Ask Games with Gold, the same thing on, Games with Gold.
Has Microsoft announced theirs yet?
Yeah, they have. Hold on, let me pull those up.
Yeah, it's I already know the first retail. It's gonna be freaking Knack. I guarantee it's Knack. So it's just go ahead and announce it so we can get that game out of the way. I've already beat. I forced myself to beat that game, and
it was not a good game. I know someone who's buying a PS4, so they're like, yeah, Knack looked alright. I'm like, it's very difficult and not much fun.
Well, the thing is, it's not difficult in a good way. It's difficult in a stupid way because it's just it's unfair how some of the things work. It's just not balanced right, but. That game had so much potential. It had the potential to be a good game, but it just wasn't executed. It was more of a tech demo.
So they're indie games, but they're actually pretty pretty good ones. Or one scored really well, one scored kind of mediocre. I'll get 360 by the way. It's Motocross Madness. But the Xbox One of them is Strike Suit Zero, which is a space mech spaceship game. It is free starting, I believe, Tuesday. You pilot spaceships, fight in space. Well, duh. Oh no, it's basically a shooter. It was pretty popular on the PC. Then the other one is another shooter that was originally based around Kinect, but they took that shit out. Or they didn't take it out, but they did make it the only option, is Crimson Dragon, which was supposed to be the spiritual successor to Panzer Dragoon, but it was relatively mediocre. So, yeah, not bad. I definitely think, it's very month to month. Like, I remember Strider was really good last month, and Towerfall is good if you have 4 people playing it, but I don't know. It varies from month to month. I think that's how this is always going to be. Like, some months you're going to be really excited, some months you're not. When's fucking Octodad going to be a PS Plus game? That's what I want to know.
Eventually, I give it to the end of the year, probably.
Oh yeah, it'll be on there before the end of the year. I know that Octodad's gonna hit before the end of the year. Guacamelee will probably hit, so now I'll have Guacamelee on every platform it's on except the PC. I think Rogue Legacy might get put on there. Like, it's still new enough to where it might miss the end of the year. Either way, you should all go out and play Rogue Legacy because it's a great game. And I like how, so your character, so you die, but then your character has an offspring who inherits all the money and skills. So, and they'll get new genetic traits. So, your first character will be colorblind, and the game is all in black and white. But then your next offspring will be nearsighted, and he'll have trouble with vision, and just there's all these weird little quirks like that, and it's a lot of fun. I've been playing the PC version. I'm looking forward to picking up the Vita version sometime later this week.
Cool. Yeah, I'm just waiting for when we're going to see the first retail game. We already know that when Drive Club comes out, they're going to be coming out with the PlayStation Plus edition. But that game comes out October, so this is August. So I don't know, it might be Drive Club. That might be, and it's not even a full game; it's just part of the game. But I don't know. We'll have to see with September if anything comes out. I just think that I don't know. I mean, yeah, these indie games are cool. I like to see the bigger games get in there soon.
Well, yeah, it's because they're all new, and the publishers are, I mean, I can see Metal Gear Ground Zeroes getting on there pretty early, because how short it is and whatnot. It's already dirt cheap.
Yeah, I could imagine them doing something like Ground Zeroes around the time Metal Gear Solid 5 comes out.
It's gonna be, it's gonna be long. I think at the end of this year we'll start to see the launch titles. You don't get fucking Knack and. What was an Xbox One launch title?
Rise.
No way. Yeah, you get Rise because that game
or Dead Rising.
Dead Rising. No,
I don't think they'll ever give Forza away.
No, I don't think Dead Rising's gonna be a while because they just put out that DLC and it
that's
doubled
true.
sales of that game. First off, that DLC is amazing and it tripled the sales of that game, proving that Dead Rising needs to stick to what it's good at and be stupid as hell. What was that thing's title? What?
I
Seriously,
don't even remember.
I'm gonna look this up. You guys keep talking.
Yeah, I don't remember what it's called, but yeah.
Oh, here we go. I think I got it. I think I pulled it up. Super Ultra Dead Rising 3 Arcade Remix Hyper Addiction EX Plus Alpha.
Oh,
quite a name there.
And it's this big homage to all this Capcom's legacy. It's basically them celebrating 25 years of Capcom. Which, that's cool. I thought I played at E3. It looked really neat. I actually want to buy Dead Rising just to finish the story, then play this DLC. Problem is that game is actually still, the full price, and I'm just. That's not a game that, unless I'm buying it at launch, I'm going to pay full price for. I would say it was probably the third best game from the launch. but even then, like, I'm just not like, oh man, I gotta get fucking Dead Rising. No, I actually talked to one of the programmers of it at E3, and I'm like, can you just turn this into its own game? Just like the next Dead Rising, can it just be really like an homage to Capcom and be loud, dumb, and obnoxious? Like just make like zombie Saints Row. I'd be okay with that. Like, I mean, that's what you did with this DLC, and it doubled sales of the game. So, I mean, I'm not the only one who wants this, right? So, I don't know.
Yeah, but cool. Any other news topics?
No, I don't think so.
Well, there is one little rumor when I was like reading this tech site I usually go to. The GeForce GTX 880 might come out in about a month or two. But that's just a rumor.
Great.
Hopefully it's based on the Maxwell architecture, because if there's one thing that Maxwell blew people's mind, it was when they released the 750 Ti, which offers twice the performance of my GeForce 550 Ti, but at half the power consumption. And it makes a lot.
Yeah, it can just run off the motherboard, right?
Yeah, you don't need to even plug in extra electricity into the thing. It just runs off the motherboard electricity just fine. And I'm just like, I can't remember the last time there was a lower mid-range card that could do that. Anybody remember back in the days when video cards were only like one slot instead of like eating up this giant amount of space in your computer case? I have a mid-range card and it's eating up 2 slots. But yeah, anyways, I'm looking forward to the 880 because while it may not be that much faster than a 780 Ti, I'm thinking maybe the big news will be power consumption and heat. So, something to look out for in the coming months. Possibly.
So I've been working with Moondog, and a 780 is all you're gonna need for a while. I've been tooling
unless
around
they make another Crisis. Then you'll need freaking 2 of the latest cards, because those games always require ridiculous hardware.
Yeah, but those games are always like really bloated and poorly optimized. Like, that's why they require so much fucking hardware. Like, like all the Crisis games. Like, I played Crisis 2 and I maxed it out, but I'm like, this game, for how good it is supposed to look, but like,
I will say though, when the first Crisis came out, though, that game looked unbelievable for its time.
But also like only the most expensive computers were. I remember Game Trailers did their Game of the Year awards, and during the graphics section, it's like, we can't put Crisis on here because none of our computers can run it, and we can't base on theoretical performance. So yeah, like that's like we're very much past that stage. Like, we're never going to have that again, where it's like, hey man, here's Doom 3. Doom 3 is supposed to max out your computer unless you have a 6600 in it. We're past that. It's not going to First off, no one has the money to do it anymore. And those games don't sell enough to justify it. Like, I remember when Doom 3 came out, it had all this like high dynamic range lighting and all these little details that looked gorgeous, and like the actual game was shit, but it got a pass because of how pretty it looked. And like, you go back and play Doom 3 now, and it's just like, no one remembers this. Everyone remembers Doom 1 and Doom 2 because those are the classics. They're actually good. So,
right. Cool. So, I want to apologize. So, I don't think we have any comments or questions, which part of that's because the podcast was posted late, which that's my fault. Just had a lot of stuff come up.
I have a news story we can talk about. Game Boy 25. Anyone want to talk about that?
I remember Game Boy memories? I just remember in the late 90s when I was over at an uncle's house and he had a Sega Dreamcast. Had Sonic Game on it, but it was actually kind of cool.
I remember Game Boy because, man, I spent days and days and days, like, I don't even want to know how much time I spent on the Game Boy because of Pokemon.
Yep.
Oh man,
Yeah.
freaking Pokemon just took over my life.
I think it did for a lot of people until you got stuck, if you were really bad at it like I was. Just like the Game Boy, it's like you've got the Game Boy original, this big gray brick, then you had the Game Boy Color, and all the Game Boy Color games were backwards compatible with the Game Boy, so which means that you could have this really old boring brick but you can still play Pokemon on it.
My primary memory of the Game Boy is I had friends in elementary school in like '98 who had them. Pokemon was not out yet. They had like Metroid 2 and Mario Land 2, and I'm like, oh, these look cool, but I have a Super Nintendo at home, and like this is cool that we play it like during recess, but there wasn't a game that really hooked me. But then like Pokemon became big, and I asked for it for Christmas, and I got a purple Game Boy Color with Pokemon Blue, and
I remember the purple one that was like it was kind of clear, so you could see through it.
Yeah, like what was everyone's Game Boy's color? Mine was purple.
I had the purple one as well.
Yeah, I did too.
Yeah, like
isn't that the color that it launched with?
I think so. Yeah, and then they like launched it then they did what Nintendo always does, where it's like we're launching with one or two colors, and then the fucking entire rainbow 2 months later.
Yeah.
I remember Pokemon. Like, I got Pokemon Blue, and then, like, the next Christmas I got Pokemon Yellow, and I ended up with, like, fully maxed out teams, 999, maxed out hour counter, just really got obsessed with those games, and, like, I played a lot of Donkey Kong, I played a lot of, Wario World, or, Wario Land, played a lot of that on there, I played a lot of, Link's Awakening and the Oracle of Ages games. And then, like, Pokemon Silver, Gold and Silver came out, and I got Silver for my birthday, and dude, that was all I needed until, like, for 2 years. Like, I caught the legendary dogs, I had the birds, I had, my team was maxed out, like, when I got to the Elite Four, I made them, like, they were easy, and then I got to Red, and Red was a joke. Like, I was like, this is just not fair. Oh, for alligators, level 100, zap, 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 zap.
Remember with the Game Boy, those links you could buy so you could battle each other?
Yeah.
You had to buy the links to link the Game Boys together.
Oh god, yeah, because Wi-Fi didn't exist. In fact, you had to do that until the Game Boy Advance SP, and then it's just because the Pokemon cartridge came with a thing.
The terrible days of the game being stored on the actual game.
I actually kind of like.
I mean, back then it wasn't too bad. Back then it wasn't too big of an issue. But
that's because cartridges were like tough as shit too. Like, if you had to store games on the disc, you'd be just like fuck because they break. But like the only time I've ever broken a cartridge is because it fell out of a third-story window. Like that's it.
Well, yeah, and then I mean back when the Game Boy Blockbuster was popping, like that's where you go to rent games. It's like you rent a game, it's like you take it back, and all your progress is lost if you ever decide to buy the game.
Yeah, that's true.
Or you get the game. I remember I rented a Pokemon game before I actually bought it, and I played with someone else's data was on there because Blockbuster didn't clear it. And this guy was super high ranked. I was like, awesome.
That was always fun to do, right? Like I remember, like I rented Zelda, and I started up Ocarina of Time, and like this dude's at the Water Temple, and like I was like, oh wow, this dude's already like way through this game. One thing that I would do though is like to not lose progress. Like we'd rent a game on weekends, right? Like I'd get a game or two for like birthday or Christmas. And then, like, if I get fucking straight A's, my parents would be cool with it. But for the most part, it was like, I had to rent. My parents, they'd rent a movie, I'd rent a game. They'd go watch the movie, I'd go in my room and play a game. And we'd get the game Friday night, and it's like, okay, this needs to be beaten by whenever it's due.
Yeah, remember the Blockbuster? What was it? It was like 5 or 7 days or something like that.
Yeah, it was like 5 or 7, and Like, I was gonna beat, like, it sucked for, like, JRPGs, but for, like, a game like Ocarina of Time, like, I was gonna beat Ocarina of Time in 5 days. Like, because I knew I wouldn't be able to continue my progress.
Right.
So, or what you would do is, like, you would just re-rent it again. Like, your parents say, okay, are you going to return this one or are you going to re-rent it? I'm like, I'm fucking re-rent it. Like, I think I honestly, like, my parents must have spent, like, over the course of renting Majora's Mask, they probably could have bought a copy of it instead. You know, because I replayed that game a whole bunch. I actually eventually did get a copy of Majora's Mask, but like, you know, Star Fox 64, that was another one. I just kept renting it over and over. Because like I feel renting is a valuable tool that we do not really have anymore unless you have GameFly. Because I mean, it costs. Because I mean, it was $7 to $10, and you get to play this game for 5 to 7 days to see if you actually like it or not.
Hey, sorry, I want to bring up something. You just reminded me that PlayStation Now is in beta. We should totally talk about that.
How about those amazing bargain prices they've got?
Yeah, like, yeah, those prices are fucked because you know, it's like, oh, $15 to play this game for 90 days. And I'm like, well...
And here's the sad thing. If Sony has launched an open beta and they've pretty much kept the pricing the exact same, more than likely they're going to launch the same pricing. So I'm going to go ahead and call it now. PlayStation Now is just going to be a complete bust.
Well, yeah, like, that's the thing. You have to launch... You have to...
Although they are working on a subscription model, so if they come up with a good subscription, maybe.
Yeah, like, if it's like GameFly where it's like $30 a month, like, yeah, I'd consider that. But it has to have their entire library. Because, like, that, like, GameFly is that. Like, it's all of the library for these consoles. Like, granted, I do have to wait 2 or 3 days to get my fucking game, but it's worth it. Because I can get new releases instantly. I'm paying $22 a month plus tax. It's absolutely worth it. Like, I look at that service, I'm like, okay, you're telling me I can pay $15 to rent, like, Ratchet and Clank A Crack in Time for 90 days, or I can go down to GameStop or Amazon. Like, I'm gonna go Amazon just because I hate GameStop so goddamn much.
I agree.
Like, let's see, Ratchet and Clank A Crack in Time. New, it's $22, and used, it's $8.47. And you can actually get a digital code for 10 if you want to download it instantly. So, I mean, this is, like, it's this kind of stuff that's dragging, like, that makes it look bad. I mean, John, do you have your PlayStation 4 on right now?
Yeah.
Can you give me a rental price for a full retail game?
Yeah, give me just 1 second.
Yeah, like it's...
I remember when the last time I was in there, I saw some Ben 10 game that was $30 to play it for 90 days. And I looked online, and you could buy the game brand new for less than $30. It was like $20 you could buy the game brand new. But they wanted $30 to rent it for 90 days. I'm like, that's ridiculous.
I'm...
Like, where's the common sense here?
Yeah, well, I think when I looked at it, the only prices that made any sense to me at all were the 7-day prices.
How much is 7 days?
Give me just 1 second. I'm getting on it right this second, actually.
Because we were paying like anywhere from
because keep in mind here, like, these aren't brand new games they're putting on there. Like, that's the difference. Like, yeah, like, if they have brand new games on there and you can play the game for 90 days for $30, hell yeah, that's a good deal, because how many games do you play for more than 90 days? Not many. So yeah, that would be a good deal. But these are games that have been out for years.
Yeah, like, and then like they do that for some indie games, like Guacamelee, $15 for 90 days. I'm like, I can just buy it for $15.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it doesn't seem like...
I mean, it is nice the convenience of being able to stream it from any device you have, but still.
Yeah, like the fact that you can stream it on the Vita, that's nice, but I mean, you would run any PS4 game through the Vita.
I think arguably the most popular title on here would probably be the Metal Gear Solid collection, so I'll go ahead and take a look at that.
Okay.
For 4 hours, for some reason you can rent games for 4 hours. It's $2.99
I'm gonna
for
be honest.
7 days. It's $6.99 for
that's
30
actually,
days.
No, that's actually like a 4-hour rental is not the worst idea in the world because we're actually having that giant fucking nerd party soon, and I wish I could do that with copies of Halo.
Well, that would be the only reason it would make sense. Why would you? That's pretty much just a glorified demo
Well, if you
that you're
wanted
paying
to, if
for.
someone tells you that you want to check out a game and you just want to check it out really quick, that's an option.
So,
Yeah,
but I
like
mean,
that-
you might as well just like run the GameStop, buy a used copy, play it, and then return it.
Yeah, like especially for like the Metal Gear Solid collection is like $20 used, and it might be less than that. So yeah, that one's weird to me. And if you really look, you can find really good deals on like new games. I have bought the Wonderful 101 for hella cheap. Like if you want games on the cheap, they're out there. If you really want to save
the reason why I think that the 7 day isn't always a bad deal. I know some games on here are just like horrendously priced. I'm not sure which ones. Like a perfect example, Bronson, would be Catherine, right? I have never played Catherine, but you speak pretty highly of it. Now I go through a game in maybe like 3 or 4 days, and that's when I'm like on a really tight schedule. So I can spend $5.99 on Catherine, beat it within the 7 days, and then not have to worry about buying it. That's why I think the 7 days is a good deal.
$6 for 7 days isn't bad.
Yeah, that's like Blockbuster prices if those were still around. Like that's not bad. I mean that I remember the thing I remember though is like as a fucking kid, just it's just like okay, I have Super Mario World for 7 days. I'm going to get this game finished so I can run a different game. It's almost like it trained me to be a game journalist, really. Like it's like, hey, embargo.
Journalist in training.
Yeah, just that like kids aren't gonna have the experience anymore. They don't know what renting is. Like that's really weird. Like I actually, that's another factor is like I go to my little cousin and like they know what GameFly is because of me and like he likes to play games a lot. So I told my uncle about GameFly and they've been set up with that. They're on the one game plan. He can only play on like after he gets his homework done on weekends. But like he doesn't know the experience of like going to Blockbuster, praying to God that there's a good game on the
stock.
shelf.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I remember when Mario Party came out, I wanted to play it so bad, and like I was just like, please Blockbuster have it, please, and they had it. I was so happy they had it. Like no one rented it yet. Like, and the thing is, like people would get there in the fucking morning and get those games.
Oh yeah.
Like, and you'd be just like, well, fuck. I guess I just have to wait and get lucky. And I really remember like, what was a game that I really wanted to play? It was one of the newest Maddens. Like those were always super hard to get a hold of because it's like one person will rent it for a week and then the second it hits the shelf, it's gone. So like it would
yeah,
because
what they probably do is it's like they work with their friends and they're like, oh, Blockbuster's out. I'm like, dude, I got the copy. I'll text you right when I'm turning it in.
Yeah, no, it's that. See, that's one thing. I had a friend who worked there, and that's when renting there became really awesome. Because I would get phone calls saying like, "Yo, I know you got that Game Pass, which that's unlimited game rentals for like $20 a month." And it's like, I know you got the Game Pass. What are you looking forward to? And I'm like, this. Say, okay, I'll hold you a copy. And I'm like, fucking A. It was the best. Like, and then literally a year after that, 2007, I would find GameFly in August 2007, and I'm like, I'm never going back to Blockbuster ever again. Just never again.
The only advantage was being able to exchange in the store.
Yeah, like that was the one advantage. Like if I wanted something fucking now, I can go get it. But I'm not impatient enough to like GameFly. Like typically, the way it goes on GameFly, they ship a new release on Monday and you get it Wednesday. So you get it a day later than everyone else. But fuck it, I can wait a day. I can wait a day to play the game. Like, it's not the end of the world. It's not like I'm lacking shit to play. Like, my pile of shame is huge. That's what. Yeah, John, are you aware of this term?
No, that's the first time I've heard it.
Unfinished games around here are called the pile of shame. So what's on mine right now? Like Valiant Hearts, Wonderful 101. I still need to crack into the PC version of Borderlands 2, Final Fantasy X HD. So, there's not enough time basically to finish all the games I want to play, and it sucks.
No, it totally makes sense. The term fits.
Yeah. Like, if you told me that, like, you can't get any new games, you have to finish your backlog, I'd be like, okay, that does not hurt me at all. I will be entertained. Okay, I can finish up Borderlands 2 on PC. I got that Ratchet and Clank collection just rotting there since Black Friday. Wonderful 101 needs to be done. And then Valiant Hearts. And then I finished Transistor over the weekend. Holy hell, that game's great. That game is, first off, was really surprised at how close I was to the end. I thought I was, at least 4 hours away, and I was, 2.5. And the story's really good. The game's art is fantastic. And, of course, it reminds me a lot of Bastion, because it's made by the same guys.
Cool. Anything else?
Anybody have any other Game Boy memories?
Yes, it was just all
Game Boy Advance
Pokemon
counts,
for me.
right?
Yeah, Advance counts. We'll totally talk Advance, sure.
Great. The only reason why I bought a Game Boy Advance was because of Pokemon Sapphire.
Telling you, Pokemon was the
it.
reason
That
why
was
the game.
it.
Pokemon was the reason why the Game Boy was the success it was.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And that's the thing too, is because the Game Boy came out in the early '90s, right? So you're going into the late '90s. The platform's getting old because, man, the Game Boy it's got an 8-bit processor, which in computer tech talk is oh my goodness, you can only work with 16 kilobytes of memory, I think. Or was it less than that? I don't know. You had kilobytes to work with. And, this thing is old, and then comes Pokemon, and all of a sudden the Game Boy is a hot seller again. Just unbelievable.
Yeah, what was I played a lot of Metroid Fusion on the Game Boy Advance. I played a lot of the Legacy of Goku Dragon Ball games. What else did I play a lot of on the Game Boy Advance?
I played some of the Zeldas, but
Yeah, the Super Nintendo ports were good. Sound wasn't as good as when you played it on a TV, but it was still Super SNES was good.
I remember when Shopko still existed.
Remember freaking Pokemon Pinball with the battery that goes into the game for the vibrating?
That was awesome.
That was my shit.
Oh, dude, I was so addicted to that, and I actually booted that up fairly recently, in the past year or two, because I found my Game Boy Color, and I'm like, oh, okay.
Pokemon Pinball was my freaking game.
I really like the Pokemon trading card game.
You remember the e-reader?
Oh, I used
and
to
how
have
you had
the freaking Yu-Gi-Oh
trading cards
game.
that had these barcodes on it, and you would use the e-reader to... Yeah, that was the thing.
Yeah, after Pokemon, I got into Yu-Gi-Oh, and I got into the Yu-Gi-Oh games they came out with. Oh man, I played those games so freaking much.
The Yu-Gi-Oh games on the Game Boy Advance were so good because it was the tournament card game. But those were awesome.
The memories.
Yeah,
that Pokemon Pinball, man. Every time the battery died, I got so mad.
Yeah,
vibrating.
I played. I looked at my cartridge of that game and the high scores, and I'm like, how the fuck did I ever do this? What the fuck? You know,
Because
like
he
it
used
was
to be a kid with all the time in the world.
yeah, like you know, but I
Like
can still
looking
do.
back, it's like God. If I had the same amount of free time, shit.
Oh, dude, like if I had the amount of free time I had when I was playing Pokemon, dear God, like Anthony and I would like be producing like 20 hours of content a week.
Yeah.
Like you know, you people would never be lacking content. Um,
Yeah, at
uh,
that point we might as well have a freaking live feed because we'd have so much content. We would be able to place like segments, like freaking this show from 5 o'clock till 6:30, then 6:30 to 7:30, like a TV. We'd run like a TV station.
just be live streaming all the time. Yeah, that'd be. Oh my God, this is not the worst idea in the world.
Oh no, trust me. That's something. That's what I want. That's for the future. That's what I want. I want a 24/7, maybe not 24/7, but 8 hour a day streaming.
Yeah,
Of
like
just content shows, and then we just archive. We just have it set up, and we have the technology to automatically record it and everything, and people can watch it live. If they can't watch it live, then we have them posted shortly after.
Yeah, I think one thing like Giant Bomb does a weekly live show on Fridays, and it's fantastic. And they also did one where they play. One thing that we need to do next E3 on the day before all of it starts is play Mario Party as a staff. Because dear God, like if you want to see a game just turn people into savages, that's the one. Like everyone just turns into just the meanest person you know. Yeah,
Well,
like I remember.
It's bad enough with me and you, Bronson.
Oh yeah,
like
I know.
just over talking. We don't even need to be playing anything to hate each other.
Yeah, I know. So I mean, like, could you imagine? Goddamn, uh, goddamn, Mario Party. So
Gosh, I haven't played Mario Party in so long. I love that game.
We did Mario Party 4 for 60-minute access, and over Memorial Day weekend, I played it with Tori and some other people.
There's nothing better when you've got like a house of people. Like nothing beats Mario Kart and Mario Party.
Yeah, like they're like the party games over when I have friends over. Mario Party, Mario Kart, SingStar, Dance Central, Rock Band, Super Smash Brothers. Depending on the company.
Yeah, Super Smash Brothers as well.
Dude, SingStar and Dance Central are gold. There are like for those of you who have a PS3 and can get that free version of SingStar, you can find hilarious videos of me.
Yeah, I've never played SingStar ever in my life, believe it or not.
Oh, you have a PS4 and that should be out by next E3. That's I see a video in the future.
No one has ever seen me sing on video. They've seen me dance several times.
Oh, they've seen everyone dance. Like, I mean, Bremen and I danced. Like, that's no one. People have seen me and Bremen and Anthony sing now, though.
Yeah, no one's seen me sing. You don't know. I could be the freaking next Michael Jackson for all y'all know.
You're a pedophile?
No, talking about his musical abilities.
Oh. Okay. Well, we don't have any comments, so...
Yeah, the show got posted late, so people are probably wondering what the heck happened. So sorry about that, guys. But any comments or questions that are left on episode 99, we will address in 101. And
watch all the Okami stuff. Last of Us Remastered's up, and comics are coming back soon. Tori and Bremen are both in the process of drawing one individually. So yeah.
Cool. So anything else before we close this show out?
Yeah, let's go. We're on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, all that good stuff. Look us up, follow us, stalk us, love us, show us to your friends. You know the drill.
Yes, please, please, please. All right, guys. Well, thank you guys for listening. Episode 100. Only 100 more episodes to go. Oh, yeah, 100 more episodes to go till episode 200. So, I don't know, guys. It's going to be exciting. Where do you guys see us? Where are we going to be at episode 200? That's going to be Interesting. One day, it's going to be almost 2 years from now. We'll look upon this as episode 100, and we'll be like, yeah, that was 100 episodes ago. So that day is going to be interesting to see where we're at that point. But
so let's hope for an office.
Yes, that would be very nice.
Because that's 2 years.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. 2 years might be, even then, might be a little bit too fast. But as far as pay, definitely. So, who knows, though? There's been crazy things have happened. I mean, one day I woke up, and the next day I was going to be moving to LA in 30 days. So that came out of nowhere. So you never know.
One day I woke up and I was on my front lawn with no shirt. Wait, what? That actually happened once.
Yes, you've told me that story. Alright, guys. Well, thank you all for listening. We appreciate all the support. We are out.
Bye.